infinite complacence, people went to and fro over the earth about their little affairs, serene in the assurance of their dominion over this small, spinning fragment of solar driftwood, which by chance or design man has inherited out of the dark mystery of time and space.
On this episode of Into the Fray, I welcome Dylan Wade Clark on with me. He is an author and experiencer. So, yeah, he's going to share all of his own experiences, which I would hazard to say is probably why he has also become a fiction writer of probably the same vein and subject. So, welcome on, Dylan.
Hi, Shannon. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I would definitely say that my past experiences, my interest into the different horror genres have definitely played a big part in kind of the plots of my two novels I have out right now. Additionally, I do host a YouTube channel called Creepy Unsolved. I just brought that back after a 3-year hiatus. I went back to school for a little bit and graduated with my history degree. So I'm back into doing a lot of unsolved mysteries and stuff like that.
And just so people are familiar with where you are, I think people are big on locations. I know that I am. It doesn't have to be specific, of course, but what state are you out of?
Yeah, most definitely. So I'm from Potter County, Pennsylvania. So way up north central Pennsylvania, out in the mountains.
Where's the what they call the lichen loop? Is that more in the center of the state? I can't remember where the lichen loop is.
Honestly, that's the first time I'm hearing about it. So
Anyway, sorry, tangent.
Center of the state.
We're already starting with tangents, Dylan. I'm sorry.
I say, let me know though. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I will.
I know some people in the more central part of the state, so maybe that's a good place to visit.
Yeah, I will look that up after we get off, and I will send that to you because, yeah, maybe that's a new spot for you to go check out and a YouTube video for you, maybe. Okay, so we can start, I suppose, with in the very first position that you sent me with the list, which was a spirit box session that sounds like it went a little awry and not for the reasons that people might be thinking.
Yeah, let's start with spirit boxes. So before we got on air here, I started jotting down some bullet points to kind of keep me on track for this because, like you said, I have quite a few different experiences, and we're both good at getting off on tangents. So, one of the first spirit box experiences I had was, with my brother, and this was at a location known locally as Devil's Den, which, like, with many places that I guess invoke a sense of like fearfulness. I know they like to label it as something devil. So a little bit of a backstory: my brother and his friends did some fracking out in this area. One of his friends claimed to have seen a woman in white. So obviously, if you know anything about paranormal, it's already invoking enough to pay it a visit. So this was a little bit before we got into messing around with spirit boxes and stuff like that. And we paid a visit up there. Brandon never saw this woman in white that his friend claimed to see. Upon visiting, we didn't see it either. But what we did find that was, pretty alarming was in this location. So it's like a pipeline. So it's like a cleared hill, like they clear cut it for doing those activities. But off to the side, there's huge mounds of different rocks and stuff like that. Within one of these, I guess within the rock pile, there's like a little cave entrance. And inside this cave, we ended up finding a box spring and a mattress, like someone's been living out there. So it kind of sparked my interest in thinking like maybe what his friend saw uh, long ago that he claimed to be a woman in white was actually more of like a feral person living out of here. Obviously, there's no one sleeping in the bed that night, or we probably wouldn't be here to tell the story of it, but it was pretty alarming finding that.
Yeah, I think that's more unsettling than pretty much anything else that you would usually likely run into in the woods, whether it's something paranormal, cryptid, or the worst case, people. People are the creepiest thing in the woods.
Yes, people are the most terrifying things to run into the woods. So, continuing on from there, and this is something you can go on my TikTok if you wish to kind of see more of what I'm talking about. I don't have a big following or anything on there, but I did post this video after this encounter. So years later, after you know looking for the woman in white out in Devil's Den, we kind of returned to the area once we got the spirit box. So Devil's Den is in a small village. It's known as Ellisburg. And like the area I'm talking about, so where I live, we are the county seat and we have like 3,000 people. So this area, when I'm talking about a village, it's maybe like a 15-mile long stretch of road with houses scattered throughout the woods along this stretch of road, bunch of farmlands and stuff like that. So where Devil's Den is, it's off a dirt road way out into the wilderness. It's very dense. It's a very dense forest setting. So like when you're in it, other than this clear cut area, like you can't see that far in either direction. So we go out here at night because we know this area is, it's a private area now. It's a gated area. We didn't like go into Devil's Den this time. We kind of sat at the gate. So we're up there. We drive up to the gate. We get out the spirit box and we try to make contact with whatever's out here. Still kind of hung up on that whole woman in white thing. Different stories from there. The stories around here just drift. You hear everything from Bigfoot encounters to paranormal activity, poltergeist stuff, the usual. So we pull out the spirit box, we start talking, and we end up talking to a man who claimed to be Reuben, like clear as day. It's in this TikTok video I'm talking about. We ask, what's your name? And he says it a couple times that his name is Reuben. So after this, Reuben keeps asking us to come to him. And we're in the car, we're talking to him from the car at the gate. And like obviously, uh, you know, anything paranormal 101, right? If a spirit's asking you to come after it, you don't go after it. Or you're out in the woods and you hear a voice calling your name, you don't go after it. So we don't. And we decide after, you know, probably 5-10 minutes of speaking with Ruben and his endless request for us to come to him, it's time to leave. So we, back up the car. My backup camera, it's doing some funky stuff. It's flickering on and off, stuff like that. And we start going down the road. This whole time we're going down the road, leaving, Ruben's calling for us to come back, don't leave, turn around. So we get mile away, and finally it cuts out, fizzles. Now, this story doesn't end here. What happens later on is even wilder than just talking to a spirit named Reuben. So, like a month or so later, a few weeks, month or so later, I don't know the exact time frame. Everything blends together anymore. So, we have two books that are local to the area, wrote by a historian. and it accounts for strange events in the Black Forest. So the one I'm talking about today is called Forbidden Land. So it has a Native American with devil horns on the cover. It says Strange Events in the Black Forest, Volume 1, 1614 to 1895. So months after, or not months after, a few weeks, month after our encounter with Reuben, I'm picking through this. This book has, anything you can think of, like usual folklore stuff, right? So like there's stuff about panther encounters. There's stuff about like ghostly carriages on dirt roads, like headless horseman type stuff, UFO encounters, etc. There's a story in it that talks about the Ellis family. So the Ellis family, one of the children from the original family founded Ellisburg, where this event took place. I think the family was originally from Massachusetts. There was 5 children. One of the children who goes on to find Ellisburg in 1836, his name is Richard Ellis. So what is unique about this is Richard Ellis had 4 brothers and sisters who were all mute. So in this story, in the Forbidden Land, it talks about how this like period in time, they called encounters with the paranormal, any entity like that, angel encounters. So these 4 mute children, one of them's name was Jonathan, and Jonathan went out into the woods one day and met an angel. This angel helped him speak. So then Jonathan runs home and he can speak again. And obviously his parents are like mesmerized by his new ability. His other brother and sisters go on to talk with this angel and they can speak again. So Richard, he goes on, he moves to the Ellisburg area. He has 19 children, with the last one of them being named Reuben. Years later, after living in Ellisburg, Reuben goes missing in the same woods in the area that me and my brother talked to that spirit.
Okay, that is an amazing connection. I was not expecting that. You're literally talking to a Reuben as well, and he didn't want you to leave.
Yeah, it was wild. So I don't like a lot of these old stories are all muddied together. The times and dates, the names repeat. The original or Richard's father's name was Reuben too, but Reuben is from Massachusetts. Then Richard goes on to have 19 kids. Probably one of them named Richard too. But the last one, it clearly accounts for him being named Reuben and going missing one day while venturing through the woods of these areas. So it was like a clear epiphany type moment for me when I read that later. I was like, no freaking way. So, I mean, if that is the connection there, that's pretty amazing in my eyes.
So you weren't even aware of all of that before you went out and did the spirit box session, got Reuben to talk to you. You weren't even aware of all that.
No, not at that time.
Oh,
that's
man. You must have flipped
when
out.
I read that.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Yeah, then I told my brother that. He was amazed too, and we haven't really been back to that area since. After that, we started like chasing another lead. So there's another area. It's off of what they called the Susquehannock Trail System. It's up in Thompson Hollow, another like dark, dense, wooded area, perfect for Bigfoot encounters and other creepy stuff. So this one kind of follows a trail cam story. Years prior to that, hunting in the same area, we found a missing persons poster out here. I've kind of always wondered, like, whatever happened to that guy. Like, way out in the middle of the woods, is just nailed to a tree. Hey, he's been hunting up in this area. He never came home. Kind of like that. And it's always been in the back of my mind. But the trail cam video I'm talking about, this again on my TikTok, my brother captured on his trail cam out in Thompson Hollow. And it's a video of a coyote. This coyote's running through the woods, and in the backdrop, like behind the shrubbery and the trees, there's a shadow following it. The last frame of the video, the coyote looks into the direction of the shadow and just stops and stares at it. So obviously we had to jump on this. So I'm not sure what exactly it was or is being chased by, but like it was enough to spark our interest to go discover more.
And I'm sorry, whose property is this trail cam on?
This is on public land.
Okay. So how did you guys get a hold of this? So it's just a video that's been floating around, right?
No, this is actually my brother's trail cam.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yep.
I gotcha now. So you keep mentioning your TikTok, and in case people want to go check it out while we're still chatting, what is your TikTok?
It's just Dylan Wade Clark at Dylan Wade Clark.
Perfect.
I have been uploading shorts for my YouTube video on there too. So if anyone's interested. But that video is on there. Just what was odd about it to us was, like, you know how shadows work. And when they move across objects, they flex or they bend to it, right? Or they disappear entirely depending on the light. So this was like a moving entity in itself that was following this coyote. And like clearly in the last frame, it seems as if the coyote notices it too. So we decide to go out to Thompson Hollow and try out the spirit box. And our first instinct is to take the spirit box out to the location that this happened to. So there's a bunch of log roads up there. We travel. It's like off a main route up here, main ball road. It's up a dirt road, over a hill, way out to very densely forested area. You know, we go up later in the evening, obviously, because why not? Like everything spooky has to happen at dark. But we go out here, we got headlamps on, we're going to the location, have the spirit box in hand, we're talking, and we end up talking to a spirit around this trail cam footage. We're trying to ask it if it knows anything about this shadow chasing this coyote, whatever. The spirit kind of refuses to talk to us until we return to our truck. It wants us to go back to our truck to talk to it. So we're like, all right, whatever. This sounds like it's promising, right? So we listen to the spirit box instructions. We go back. We get in my truck. We start talking to it, and the whole time it's begging to be let in. It says, "Let us in," and we were like, "No, you can't come in here. We like respect. We're talking to you, but we're not gonna let you enter our space." So it keeps begging us to come in until it gets a little violent. It starts talking about like inflicting violence upon us, and we're like, "No, dude, it's time to go." So as we're leaving, going down the road, and it was weird. Like a black bear jumped out, ran across the road in front of us. We went off. It was the end of that night. Well, we end up going back to this area later on because we want to try out the Estus method. I'm sure you know what the Estus method is.
I do, but can you just give a quick synopsis for folks that don't?
Yeah, definitely. So my understanding, the Estus method, what it was first done at the Estus or at the Stanley. Is that correct? Estes Park.
That I don't know. I don't know the history behind it much. I just know how to do it. I'm not done it myself though.
Okay. I kind of saw it on Hellier. You watched Hellier?
No.
Okay. It's a good paranormal kind of investigation flick or series. But anyways, they did it on there. We wanted to try it out for ourselves. So the way we did it, you know, you have one person connected to the spirit box with headphones on. They're blindfolded. You have a second person, and they're communicating with said spirit you're talking to, while the person with the headphones and blindfold on is shouting out whatever they hear. So we're back here because obviously we haven't had enough. And we kind of get more or less the same encounter. You know, it starts out friendly until we tell whatever spirit we're communicating with that it can't come in the vehicle with us. And I'm all blindfolded up. I have headphones on. My brother's talking to it. I'm shouting out what I hear. It's very invasive. Wants to come in and wants to be with us. We're like, no. End up having enough. And we're getting ready to leave, and it's still talking to us. It's telling us to wait. Don't go yet. Hold on. And the whole time before this, we're thinking, so there's two ways to get to the location we went to. The main road we came down, jump off, get on a dirt road, go to the top of the hill, out into the woods. Back way, like through a bunch of back dirt roads to get out of the place. So to leave, we either have to go right or left at the end of the dirt road we're on. We're like in a big pull off in a field right now. So the whole time we're thinking we're going to turn left instead of going right like we usually do to get out of here to take the back roads home. It goes through like another state park, etc. This whole time, the spirit box yelling at us to wait, don't go, hold on, turn right, go right. And we're like, what the heck is it talking about? So we listen. Instead of going left to get out of here, we see headlights coming up over the hill, which would have been if we turned left. We decide to turn right, go out that way. So we're thinking, it's strange that there's another vehicle all the way up here. What's it doing? But like, we're not really concerned at this point. So we drive through the woods, down this dirt road, and off the mountaintop to get back to the main road. And this whole time, the car is getting closer, like really tailing us. Whatever it wants to do, it wants us to stop. We got feeling that like this car, whatever its intentions was, the driver or whatever, they weren't the best. So we decide, I'm like, let's not go right home after this. Let's try to throw it off. We'll take a right, left, right, and if it's still following us, something's up. So we plan on doing that. We go to the bottom of the road, we take a right, we get on the main hardball road, get up to 60 miles per hour, whatever the speed limit, and that the car's following us. We're like, all right, it's not that odd yet because you can go left or right, whatever direction you go into the next town. We go all the way down, we take the next available left, and then it has an immediate right after it that goes onto another dirt road out to just like small village. So we take that left, the car behind us takes the left too, and then we take the immediate right, and the car jumps on the dirt road with us. It follows all the way almost to the end of this dirt road until in the rear view mirror, we see it stop in the middle of the road and just stare at us and start backing up, and it like backs up into the middle of the night. We never see it again.
That is horrifying.
I think that was one of the last times we went up there. It was weird enough that the spirit box is trying to warn us, but to have that thing follow us as far as it did and to stop dead in the middle of the road, because the dirt road we jumped on, it goes off a hardball, route road, and at either end it reconnects. So before we jumped back on the main road, it's decided to stop in the middle of that dirt road and just back up into the night.
Oh, yeah, that is a huge no thanks on the no list.
Yeah, I wish I could show you like pictures of the area I'm talking about. Like it just sets the mood even more.
Oh, I'm sure there's some. I mean, I've been to PA a few times, especially for filming purposes, of course. And boy, there's some dense forest there.
It's really isolated and everything.
Yeah.
And that small town community.
Do you guys go out armed?
Uh, I don't think we were that like when we backpack a lot through this area too. When I go out there backpacking, know I'm gonna spend the night and stuff. Yeah, I go armed
Yeah.
just because, like I said, there's that massive uh, STS trail system, and that runs like a 90-mile loop. So like they get people from all over, the world possibly coming to hike this trail system. And you just never know who you're going to meet out there.
Speaking of loops, I did a quick Google for the lichen loop while you were talking, and this was just a cursory search, so it could be a little bit off, but it is in fact central PA and over into eastern Ohio, according to the very first thing that I Googled. So maybe that is something you guys could check out.
So this lichen loop, is it like along a route road or?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't want to like be completely distracted while you were talking because I'm big on paying attention. It's important, but yeah, at least it's in your state, and then it bleeds supposedly over into Ohio. Now, if you look up, I'm sure if I clicked on another link, that map might change a little according to who you are speaking to. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe that it was Lon Strickler who coined that term, lichen loop, because he was getting so many reports of Dogman in that area. But once we hop off, I will do a little bit more of a search and send you that info, because that could be something cool to look into.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know of Lon a little bit. He shares a lot of different paranormal encounter stories on.
Yes.
I think it's like one of my old creepy unsolved Facebook groups or something. I don't really moderate much, but I see from time to time he's always posting stuff in there.
Yeah, if anyone wants to check Lon out, Phantoms and Monsters is the website. But Lon is one of the first ones that he was like on Monster Quest with his Bigfoot sighting while he was fishing when he was young, and it changed his life. So there I go, off on a tangent. I apologize. Okay, back on track. So did you need to add anything else to that crazy spirit box sessions and all of that? That is wild.
No, that's about all I got for spirit boxes in recent years.
Well, yeah, let's go with the Hoover House now.
Definitely the Hoover House. Okay. So, where do we even start with this? Okay. So, Hoover House, that was something that came up when I was working for Missing Person Mysteries. So, with Steve Stockton, I worked with them for, I think, a year doing like video editing and stuff. And I met a couple people, through just networking and stuff like that. And one of them was, her name's Laura. She ended up being my co-host on Creepy Unsolved for quite a while before I ended that to go back to school and get my history degree like I talked about. So I think Laura would have been the one who brought up going to the Hoover House. I think Cisco talked about it with her before. I don't know, but whatever. We end up
Cisco's been on here quite a lot, and we've talked a ton about the Hoover House.
Yeah. Either way, one of the people were talking about it. Laura's like, man, we should go there because they do table tipping. So me, Laura, another friend of ours, his name's Donnie, my brother Brandon, who I talked about with the spirit box encounters, we all decided to go down there and, take part in this table tip. So this is all going out. There's a little bit of backstory. There's backstory to everything. Yeah, endless backstories. But so prior to this, okay, so it's right around would be my brother Mason's graduation. So it's like May before this. So he's just going to graduate in June. He's my younger brother by 10 years. So we're getting ready. All this stuff's going on. My brother's getting ready to graduate high school. Our grandfather has always been a big part of our life growing up. He passed away in 2017. So this would be a few years prior to when this happened, when we went to the Hoover House. But one of my grandfather's wishes was to always, or to see all of me and my brothers graduate high school. He wished he could have lived long enough to see that happen. Obviously, passed in 2017, he didn't make it. So, right around this time, I got all this emotion build up. Driving home one night, I'm in my truck. I'm just thinking about him, right? So I'm driving my blue truck down the road, going home. So this ties into the tipping later. So we all go down, we go to the Hoover House. Me and my brother share a room. Laura and Donnie have their both rooms themselves. I think we rented out like the whole second floor. So we go there, meet everyone. There's a pet psychic. What is his name? Anyways, he's there. He's a pretty big name. I feel bad for not remembering it right now. But he's there. He's doing a little show or whatever downstairs. We sit for that. We end up going out exploring. We go to a couple different haunted bridges in the area. There's a covered bridge down there that's supposed to have a bunch of paranormal activity. And then there's an uncovered bridge. I guess no way other describe it than either having a cover or not. But we go there, visit them. We come back and they're like, "Hey, man, you guys want to do table tipping with us?" We said, "Yeah." So, I mean, when I did Creepy Unsolved as a host of a paranormal podcast, I talked to a lot of different people with a lot of different interesting stories, which I'm sure you have with your 550 plus episodes, right? It's hard not to be a little bit skeptical from time to time. I hear everybody's stories out for what they are. I respect what they encountered, but I'm sitting here thinking about table tipping, and it kind of seems a little outrageous to me. If you know what table tipping is, it may seem a little outrageous to you as well. So I don't sit at the table first. I sit on the couch, watching the bed and breakfast owners and one of their friends. I think Laura might have sat at the table first with them to do a session. So table tipping, do you know what that is?
I do, but explain that also, please.
Okay. So table tipping, you have one person like really running the table. Everyone places their hands on the edge of it. And the idea is you're asking a spirit you're trying to communicate with, like a yes or no question, and it's supposed to tip in either direction as a response to it. So from the table or from the couch, I'm watching the people at the table. I'm really watching their fingertips. I'm watching their forearms. I'm trying to see whether or not they're tensing up to kind of push the table in the other direction to kind of help it along. And I'm really in tune to this, right? And from the couch, like it looks clear as day. Like it looks believable. Okay. I hear out the session for what it's worth. And like from what I'm watching, I'm still a little skeptical, right? Because like just thinking of a table moving back and forth that poltergeist like activity happening right in front of you, it's kind of a little hard to believe. So they go through that. My session comes up and I'm ready to sit down. They start talking to me or sitting down and talking to the table. And the person who's leading the table, he's talking to me that there's someone who wants to communicate with me. He explains that his name starts with a B, which, my grandpa Bill, I automatically make that connection. He's talking about you having like the psychic medium who's there kind of starts chiming in too, and they're like feeding each other back and forth. But it's going on. Hey, your grandpa Bill wants to talk to you. He's here to talk to you. He has something to tell you. No, I'm saying that a little bit backwards. They bring up the truck first. So going on about a blue vehicle, a truck, an emotional event. I'm like, yeah, a little bit of a backstory. Coming into this, No, I'm messing this up.
That's all right.
All right, so it was my Grandpa Bill first. They're talking to me, yeah, your Grandpa Bill wants to talk to you. You had an event in your blue truck or a blue vehicle. I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm like, yeah, the other day before coming here, I was driving home in my truck and had a kind of like an emotional event about my Grandpa Bill. And like the way they drew that connection to my grandpa and like specifically the blue vehicle and all that stuff is crazy. And they delivered a message to me, you know, obviously, like you can kind of put it together. Like I told them how my brother is graduating. He always wished to be there. And like they brought me some closure. They said, yeah, he'll he wants you to do this, do that, whatever. He loves you. And he talked about uh just me being there for him, and they wanted me to take a picture of me and my brothers to give to Mason to walk across the stage with. So do all that. End up going home, graduation day. I go down, I get that picture they're talking about. Like it was a specific picture that I know in my heart, and like they described it like perfectly. It's weird. So I get that picture, I give it to Mason. He's all in his cap and gown. We're getting ready to go down to graduation. Me, Brandon, Mason rode with my mom and her new husband. We're in the back of the car all sitting together. And the song that comes on the radio is Werewolf in London, which was my Grandpa Bill's favorite song. So it's just weird that all those chains of events happen together like that.
That is a very cool story.
Yeah, it was hard to really describe, but it was pretty overwhelming. Like I was a little bit skeptical about the table tipping and like, you know, they use context clues to kind of put that together, but I couldn't explain how his favorite song came on in the car as we're
Right.
driving down to graduation.
Right. If any of those things are separate, then you're kind of like, coincidence or, oh, good guess, a B
Yeah.
letter or whatever. But all of those things together, that's a little something different. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's easy to call out like the clear context clues, but the oddities like that, like, yeah, I can put together if you say B, you're going to think of the first person whose name starts with the B, and you kind of play off that, you
Yeah.
feed to it. But like the little oddities, like the song in the car on the way to graduation, like I can't explain that, and it's not something they can make happen either. But yeah, it's kind of the Hoover House.
Well, this next one will probably ring true with me, especially because you kind of, in the message on Instagram, you kind of had a little description, not description, it was just a few words after. I'm like, that's sometimes how I describe mine in a way, because I don't quite know how to describe it. We do our best, but anyway, shadow people is up next.
Yep. So I had two shadow people encounters. This event is built around a time that I was remodeling my house. So if you believe anything about, you know, spirits and stuff and being tied to certain places, what happened kind of makes sense to me in my mind. But the way these two shadow people encounters tie together, it kind of has me like grasping for answers. So the first one, I think it was like the springtime a couple years ago. We have all of our furniture kind of pulled out of our living room area because we're getting ready to put in new carpet. Like we're replacing the ceiling, putting a drop or a tongue and groove ceiling in, putting in new carpet. So our house is like all scattered. It's a mess. You know, we've been painting, just kind of uprooting what once lived there. So we got everything pulled out in our dining room. There's a sofa still left in this end of the living room, like more towards the kitchen. So if you walk in my house, like you walk into the dining room, it takes up like, I don't know, like a good 3/4, 2/3 of the front part of my house. And then off of the dining room is my kitchen. There's like a staircase at the end of the dining room, like behind the kitchen. And then like just if you look right as you're walking through, you can see like at an angle into the living room. So I was coming from my dining room. This is like in the middle of the day too. Coming from my dining room, headed into the kitchen to get something. Out of the corner of my eye, where just was working in the living room, remodeling the house, there was a figure that stretched from the floor to the ceiling. And like how I describe this, like it looked like a like almost like a black curtain. Like it wasn't like a full figured object. It was like, I don't know, it felt like it was, if you watch like pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Know anything about pro
A
wrestling?
little
You know
bit,
the
yeah.
Undertaker.
The
You know the
Undertaker,
Undertaker,
absolutely, yes.
big towering figure with a long trench coat. It didn't have a hat. I'm not saying it was the Hat Man or anything, but just that stature. All right. So, get me a little bit worked up. Yeah, the goosebumps because I'm thinking about it again. So I'm walking through my kitchen now. At the corner of the eye, I see this thing. It doesn't have a face. It doesn't have bodily uh, limbs or anything like that, but it feels like it's looking at me. So I'm walking into the kitchen. My heart's freaking pounding. Like I felt like I got shot in the freaking chest. Like I feel my heart tightening. I come around. And I'm like, dude, that thing's coming to get me. So I get to the edge of the kitchen. There's like a doorway where you can see into the living room. When I look through the doorway to where that thing was, it's moving. My dog's sitting on the couch and his head's following that thing. So it's following it. It watches it move out of my sight, like towards that staircase that I was talking about, a joint or like behind my kitchen off the edge of the dining room. And I can feel it like it's going to come around into the other entrance of the kitchen to get me. It messed me up, man. But after this, I had that moment of hesitation where I was weak to it, right? After that, I decided, I had to take my stand that this figure or whatever it was didn't belong here. So I shouted it out of the house. I did like a cleansing just to let it know that, hey, this is my domain now. I own this place. Like you need to leave. That encounter, I write about it in my book through a different perspective, but it's like the same event in my book, The Promise. So that, oh man, I got goosebumps. That's the first part of my two-part encounter. So after this, later, same year, later, a couple months later, in the summertime or whatever, I'm still remodeling my house. I think at this point, I'm actually putting up that tongue and groove ceiling. Might have hung drywall and like prepped it before, but I got tongue and groove. I'm putting that up. I have a ladder in the living room, kind of where that figure was. So I'm climbed up that ladder. I'm putting in tongue and groove ceiling by myself. If you know how hard that is, it's a freaking challenge. So I got like I got a jig built to, kind of hold the boards up so I can slide them in, nail them, air nail them. Top of this ladder, you got freaking like a 6-foot piece of tongue and groove ceiling. Sliding up there doing that. From where I am, I'm in the same position that shadow person was before. I'm looking off into the kitchen. I see someone looking back at me from the kitchen, that same tall, cloaked like shadow figure. Granted, in the middle of the daytime, too. See that? I shouted it out before. I have a little bit more confidence. I go after it. I take the same path that shadow figure walked before. I circle the room to go to the other entrance of the kitchen to go see if it's still there, shouting it out. And when I get there, it's gone or whatever. I started to question, whether or not these encounters were truly shadow people or if it was a time slip and I was seeing myself in two different positions.
Yeah, that definitely could be. And the question that comes first to my mind is, were you the only one to see this thing?
The second time, I believe so. The first time, my dog Lucky saw it.
What about your wife or your kids?
I was home alone.
Right. So even outside of that particular incident, they hadn't seen it independently at all.
No, my wife feels like she sees things in the house. Like she always felt like there's a presence of like a spirit in the house. Like we actively joke that the ghost lives in the basement.
Mm. Has
So
has she seen an apparition, or is it more just shadows or and feelings?
I think hers is more tied to feeling. I don't know if she's ever seen a full apparition,
Yeah.
but like she refuses to go in the basement just because it gives her the bad vibes.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, it's a good thought. It's not a silly thought in any way, shape, or form to think that that might be you in another place or time or whatever. But how did it make you feel when, I mean, the first time you said you saw it and then you actually could feel it looking at you, and it sounds like you
Oh yeah.
you still don't get a good feeling about it. So I don't know if that would be you.
Yeah, if like I said, it like sent a shock through my heart, man. Like I felt like the whole well, it felt like it was draining me in a way, if that makes sense.
Oh, so you got a little energy vampire thing going on.
Mhm.
That's pretty dark stuff. Yeah, and it's good though that immediately you're like, I will renounce you. Get the hell out. This is not your place. This is our place. And so how long had you lived there before you guys started to remodel?
I would think like 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good long while. And before that there was nothing, or your wife there was already this running joke about the basement.
I mean, prior to that, so like I said, Creepy Unsolved podcast, I'd always do that later in the night when the house is quiet, right? Everyone's settled down, going to bed. The dogs are all settled down, not chasing the windows, barking at passing cars, whatever. So I'd be up here recording from like 8 to 10 or whatever it may be. Every time I'd turn off the lights in my upstairs office and walk out, it always felt like someone was standing there in the dark, like staring back at me. It was always something like I kind of brushed off,
Mm-hmm.
like after. But then again, like it felt like, the void thing, right? So you're up here, you're researching all this different stuff on paranormal activities. And sometimes when you stare into the void, it stares back.
So there was a little bit of something going on before that, but then it does sound like the remodel maybe really somehow it gives them energy or it pisses them off, and that might be anthropomorphizing things that we don't understand. I don't know if they feel something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but whatever it was, maybe it is just an energy situation. And it had been given energy somehow. I don't know. That is, the timing of that is something that is, it's not always the case, but it's a classic case, right? The remodel that
Oh, yeah.
kicks off paranormal activity.
Yeah, it escalates the situation. That's kind of what like Cisco. I talked to Cisco a lot about it right after the first and second event, obviously. But she kind of said, if you believe in spirits and stuff like that, they get kind of tied to where they existed once before. Whatever you believe, if they didn't move on to whatever's after this. So it kind of makes sense if they're stuck in this kind of whatever happened, if it's an endless loop, or they're still living out the life in, their home that once was. But to have someone come in there and start messing with their area like that, yeah, it might escalate activity. But the way, like, it kind of lined up for me, it had me second guessing whether I was seeing myself or not. But like when you talk about how I was feeling with the first encounter, yeah, maybe it was something different, because like, why would I have that effect on myself? Oh, it's trippy.
Oh, that's for sure. And that's, again, I say it a million times ad nauseum. It's always different when it's in your own home. If you go to a place like the Hoover House and you see a shadow, well, cool. That's kind of what you're there for.
Mhm.
But, I mean, that's a blanket statement. Like, oh, cool. No, sometimes it's still scary, of course, but it's not your own friggin' house. So did anything... Is the creepy basement situation still there, but everything else is pretty chill right now?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. The basement's never really affected me, though. It's been more my wife than
Hmm.
anything. Like, after that second encounter, I started talking it out and stuff. I haven't really had too many things go on since then.
Has your wife ever gone to the basement and done just like what you did and gone, hey, this is my space. Like when I come down here, just let me feel peace. Let me be peaceful.
No, but maybe she should.
It's worth a shot, right? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I know some people feel silly doing that, but it has worked in the past. So yeah.
Yeah, I fully believe, like, your intentions have power. Like, if you believe in
Yes.
the intentions you're putting off, then, hey, the world's full of energy, right?
Absolutely. Well, Dylan,
It's a
before
balance.
I let you go to finish your Halloween festivities today, thank you for your time. And make sure to mention again the YouTube channel, your books and where to find them, your TikTok again, and anything else that you want to plug.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you for having me, Shannon. My content, I'm like you said at the top of the show, I'm a fictional horror author. I've authored 2 books. One's called From a Dark Place, which kind of follows a what if story about a demonic doppelganger. Like, what would you do if someone looked like you committed a horrendous crime? The second one is called The Promise, which follows a husband and wife fulfilling a 30-year promise to move back to a small town that has a dark secret. I run a YouTube channel called Creepy Unsolved. I cover a bunch of unsolved mysteries on there. And I have a TikTok account. It's my name, Dylan Wade Clark.
Well, Dylan, thank you so much. And you are welcome back anytime. If you guys do end up going to the basement and saying, get the hell out of here, this is our pad, and anything goes down, let me know. I would be interested in that. And I will send you some like and loop stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to look into that, and I'm going to give it a shot.